Hey everybody, what's up? What's going on? And today I'm thinking about, that saying. Thinking about, well, not just today, I guess for a little bit now. Thinking about the saying, what do you do when life gives you lemons? And I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking about the metaphor of, when life gives you problems, what are you supposed to do? Especially when you don't think that there's a solution. I can't find the solution. I can't think about it. What is it? I don't know what to do. I've never been in this before. I don't know. You're treading, a whole sea of I don't knows of all sorts of different kinds. And then, the rest of that expression, make lemonade, turn the badness into good. And it's a hard thing, I think, to really to think about when you're in it. And I especially, I think it's a lot when like your problems maybe are even associated with anxiety or panic, or even if they're not. When you have problems, I know when I have problems, anxiety and panic are usually present as well. Anytime you got something to worry about, I usually worry about it and then panic about it as well. And so when I have these problems, it's hard to be in the midst of it and to remember everything, to notice everything that's going on, to paying special attention, to doing things that are going to be helpful to you. And so I was thinking about it like there are small lemons and there are big lemons, I think, and there are, you can get one big lemon at a time, or you can get lots of little lemons or lots of even big lemons, or just sometimes it's like a rainstorm of lemons and you feel like you have huge and little lemons of just hailstorm. You're in a hailstorm of lemons. I don't exactly know what to do about it. And I'm in like a situation, I think, now where I don't exactly know what, the right thing to do is about it. So there was a small chasm of that today. I was just I set up the PVR and the PlayStation, get everything, the whole setup. It was away for the weekend and I had to move some things, so I'm coming back and getting the setup back. And part of the PVR is it sucks. That's one thing about it. And part of that is reliability, and so it just wasn't working. Things weren't displaying properly. Inputs weren't going through when they should have been, and things not being recognized by the computer or the PlayStation. And finally, I just unplug things, replug things back in after trying to, do one thing at a time or do the right thing in the right way, and trying to figure out what's the right way to troubleshoot this problem. And just finally just unplugging everything and replugging everything back in, and that worked. And so that was, a frustrating ordeal I was in, but it's a little lemon, right? And, the lemonade is you reset everything, right? When you have a problem like that, you just have to reset. And I think, that was, maybe a little bit more metaphorical, right? Like, I think maybe something you can take from, the problems if you're having, I think that's something that I identify with when I'm having problems is I just want to reset. I just want to unplug. I just want to be alone. I want to just have some time. And it's often, the one thing you can't get any more of, time. It's pretty rare, to find more. You just can't find time. You can't buy time. It just goes away. And so sometimes I just think you need time. And there are people that say, you just can't. There are some, you just can't do nothing. You have to be doing the thing, especially if it's the thing you don't want to be doing. And in part of like, I guess I'll speak more directly about the problems that I'm going into now. I don't like just talking about my problems, or like, so to say, like things that I think are problems, because I feel like it gives them some sort of power over you. I think it is good to vocalize things. I think it's good to say things. I think it's good to sometimes you say things. You say things in your head, and then you say things out loud, and then you finally hear what that sounds like and what that is, and then maybe you learn a lot. Like, oh no, that's not at all what I want, or that's not at all what I'm experiencing, or that sounds so silly. Or you have an experience where you're able to put it into the real world and you're able to see it as a real thing. And I think that is helpful, but at the same time, I don't know, I just don't want to like complain or whatever, or make it seem like, these things are going to control my entire life. They're going to be the end of me. But it just kind of feels like that. I was I was hit by a car, and I guess it's causing a lot of problems in like every other part of my life. And I think one thing that happens to me specifically is, when I'm in, in the middle of like a bad situation, I'm not like the coolest person to be around, right? Like I'm full of stress and anxiety and worry and panic, and so sometimes it's not just like a fun person to be around. Um, and sometimes like people will stay away, especially like sometimes like people you think you need, like like family, and like in particular. And so it's sometimes like it's hard when you're like in a rough situation, and you feel like you need to like lean on people like family or something like that are kind of have to be there, that are always there, so to say. And then so like when like you lean on someone like that, and then like there's no reciprocation, or someone's like, there was one time I was having a real hard time a few years ago. It was just, I was in college, and I was switching my major, and I didn't know, it was because I wasn't liking what I was doing. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. I wasn't doing good at anything that I was doing. And it was just like it was a frustrating time for me, and as a result of that, I was just unpleasant to be around, I guess. Like I was dull and boring. I was consumed by this kind of, what am I going to do? I'm not doing what I need to be doing right now. And it's going to set me up for a disastrous future. I was kind of in that kind of spiral. And I remember I was out at this dinner, and I was just like looking down. I was just being sad, like a little bit dejected. And my dad was just like, "You're boring. You're not fun to be around. You're unpleasant. Well, you have to figure this shit out." And it was just like, fuck you. Like it was just like it just made me so angry that this, like, I needed help, and it was so visible that I needed help. And like this, like someone who's supposed to be there for you was just kind of like, fuck you. And so I don't know, it was kind of like this eye-opening experience, that like, oh yeah, people, for the most part, people are kind of like disappointing. It's kind of the thing that sucks, is that you can't really lean on anybody else. That's kind of the thing. Like when life gives you lemons, what do? You really can't bring your lemons to other people. No one else really gives a fuck about your lemons. So you just have to learn. I guess the thing I'm learning more and more is you have to learn to carry your own lemons, so to say. You have to learn to make your own lemonade, and you have to learn how to get rid of these lemons. And you don't have to make lemonade. You can make Sprite. You can throw them. You can suck on them. You can do whatever you want with your lemons, right? Some answers go better, are more better answers than others. Some are more effective than others. But I think for me personally, I look at my lemons for a little while, and then I start doing the things that those lemons don't like, I guess. And I think that's kind of the way out, is you got to do the things you don't want to do, or the things you feel like you really can't do. And that's the hard part, because it's not just like, oh yeah, I don't want to do it. It's I don't think I can do this. I think this will damage me. I think this will hurt me more. And so I think it's those things that have to be done. So thanks for listening.